In this video, I'm going to show you how to add professional level audio meters to iMovie so that you can monitor and control audio levels like you can in more expensive professional level video editing software like Final Cut Pro and Premiere Pro. So the first thing I'm going to show you in this tutorial is how to put together an inexpensive professional level audio meter setup for iMovie using a $5 US piece of software from the Mac App Store. Then after that, I'll show you a free audio meter solution for iMovie. Let's jump in. So here we are in iMovie. This is version 10.1.14, running on macOS 10.15.6 for your reference. And I have this project in the timeline that has audio, as you can see from these waveforms. Now, if you're not seeing audio waveforms in your project, go over and select the Settings button on the far right of the interface. Then make sure Audio Show Waveforms is checked. I'll play the project a little bit, and you can hear the audio, but as you can see, iMovie doesn't have audio meters. The only way to measure the level of your audio is by looking at the audio waveforms themselves. Here's how it works. If the waveform is barely visible, your sound is very low. If the waveform peaks are yellow, the level is high. If the peaks are red, the level is too high. You've hit the ceiling. The sound is being distorted, an effect known as clipping. Not very pleasant to listen to. iMovie's audio waveform system works fine if you're only working with one or maybe two audio tracks in your project. But things get tricky when you want to create a more professional level soundtrack that includes several different types of audio tracks. Sync sound from the video clips, voiceover, music, sound effects, ambient sound. The sound levels from all those different audio tracks actually add up. And if you're not careful, the sum of those sound levels can get too high and start overloading the timeline, which can lead to unpleasant audio distortion or clipping. There's really no way to tell if that's happening in your iMovie project without audio meters. Audio meters visualize the overall sound level of your project, allowing you to avoid distorted audio while keeping your sound levels strong and consistent, which is why you'll find audio meters on ProLevel video editing software like Final Cut Pro and Premiere Pro. I'm going to add audio meters to my iMovie setup here so that I can more closely monitor and control my sound levels like the pros do. To get started, I'm going to head over to the Mac App Store by going up and selecting the Apple icon on the top menu bar, and from the menu selecting App Store. The Mac App Store opens, and in the search field up here, I'll type in ProLevel. ProLevel is a set of professional-grade audio meters you can use to monitor the audio levels coming out of your Mac. And as you can see, ProLevel has been around for quite some time, but it still works fine with macOS Catalina. Check the app details below here to see if ProLevel is compatible with your Mac and OS. Now, you purchase and install ProLevel like any other Mac app. I've already purchased and installed ProLevel, which is why the button up here says Open. So I'll open ProLevel so you can get a look at it. And there's not much to see at the moment, but that will change once we connect it to iMovie. And to make that connection, we're going to use a little piece of free audio software called BlackHole. You can think of BlackHole as a virtual wire you can use to connect audio applications to each other. Here's the download page for BlackHole on GitHub. I'll put a link to this page in the description. BlackHole is developed by Existential Audio. Now, if you scroll down the page to the easy installation instructions, you'll find a link to download the installer for the plugin. Now, make note to close all running audio applications before installing BlackHole. I'll click the download link, and I'm brought to a page on the Existential Audio website. Now, in order to download the actual plugin, you need to complete this form with your name and email address. Then click this subscribe button, and the actual plugin download link will be sent to the email address you put in the form. So this plugin isn't absolutely free. It costs you an email address. Now, it might take a few minutes for the email to arrive. You may also want to check your spam folder to see if the email landed there. Once you get the email from Existential Audio, you just click this link right here, and you're brought to a download page on Existential Audio's website, where you can finally download BlackHole by clicking this button here. This downloads the BlackHole software package to your machine. Then just follow the install instructions. Once BlackHole is installed, the next thing we need to do is open up Audio MIDI Setup on our Mac. So I'll hit Command Spacebar to bring up the Spotlight search interface. Then I'll start typing Audio MIDI Setup, and there it is, highlighted at the top of the results. I'll hit Return, and Audio MIDI Setup opens up. You can also open up Audio MIDI Setup through ProLevel. With ProLevel active, go up to the ProLevel top menu, and under Tools, select Audio MIDI Setup, and the Audio MIDI Setup interface opens. Now, if you installed BlackHole properly, you should see it here in Audio MIDI Setup in the left panel, with the other audio sources on your Mac. All right, here in Audio MIDI Setup, I'm going to go down to this little plus button at the bottom left of the interface, select it, and from the menu select Create Multi-Output Device. A multi-output device allows us to combine different audio outputs together into one output. I'm going to rename the multi-output device to iMovie Audio Meters. Now, this list on the right panel of the multi-output device is where you select the various audio outputs you want to include in your multi-output device. I'll first select Built-in Output. Next, I'll select BlackHole 16 channel. So now BlackHole, the virtual audio wire, is connected to my Mac's output. For sample rate, you can leave it at 44.1 kHz, or you can change it to 48 kHz, which is the standard sampling rate for digital video. Now, if you do change it, make sure all the other devices in your multi-output device are using the same sample rate. Also, make sure Master Device is set to Built-in Output. All right, we're done here in Audio MIDI Setup, so I'll close this window. And now we're ready to connect iMovie to the ProLevel audio meters. So the first thing we need to do is go up and select the speaker icon on the top menu bar, and from the list of available outputs, select the multi-output device we just created, iMovie Audio Meters. Now, you can also do this in System Preferences by going to Sound, selecting the Output button, then from the list of outputs, selecting iMovie Audio Meters. The next thing we need to do is connect BlackHole, think the other end of that virtual audio wire, to the ProLevel audio meters themselves. To do that, I'll first make sure ProLevel is active by clicking on it. Then on my keyboard, I'm going to hit Command D, and this little preferences pane pops out of the ProLevel audio meters. From the device setting menu at the top of this window, select BlackHole 16 channel. I'm also going to go down and check Use Floating Window so that the audio meters stay visible even when iMovie is the active application, so the ProLevel meters aren't hidden. Then I'll hit Command D again to close the preferences pane. And you're done. iMovie is connected to the ProLevel audio meters. I'm going to go ahead and play my iMovie timeline. And you can see the audio from iMovie registering in the ProLevel audio meters. Now, some really quick basics on how to read these audio meters. You have two columns. The left column is for the left audio channel, and the right column is for the right audio channel. Now, you'll notice there are actually 2 meters in each column. This lower outside meter is called an RMS meter. It measures the average sound levels being output. RMS meters approximate the way our ears perceive sounds. They're very much like analog-style audio meters with the bouncing needle. The higher meters on the inside are what you really want to pay attention to. These are peak level meters, the kind you'll find in Final Cut Pro and Premiere Pro. peak level meters measure sound levels instantaneously, so they catch everything. So generally, for online video, you want to keep the peak levels of your audio between the top of the green area, around -6 dB, and the middle of the yellow area, -3 dB. Stay away from the red area. It means your audio level is too hot, which will lead to distorted or clipped sound. Now, if the ProLevel audio meters are out of your price range, or they just seem too complicated, there is a simple and free set of audio meters you can use with iMovie. You can find those audio meters in Audacity, the free open source software for recording and editing audio. I'll leave a link to the Audacity download page in the description. Once you've downloaded and installed Audacity, just launch the software. On the interface, you'll see a row of menus just below the controls. Now, assuming you've already downloaded and installed BlackHole and set up your multi-output device as described earlier in this tutorial, you're going to go under the Input menu, the menu with the microphone, and select BlackHole 16-channel. Then from the Output menu, the menu with the speaker icon, select your multi-output device. The multi-output device I created in this demo is called iMovie Audio Meters. Then you can just resize and rearrange your windows to make the Audacity audio meters visible while you work in iMovie. Now, if you see the Click to Monitor button on the Audacity interface, just click that to activate the audio meters. Play back your iMovie timeline, and now you can monitor your iMovie audio levels using the audio meters in the free audio software Audacity. So there's a free and an inexpensive option for taking your iMovie soundtracks to the next level. And if you're interested in more ways to get pro-level results out of your videos using iMovie, have a look at these other videos on my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.